What's going on? You're hanging out with us on the Sick Podcast, Steelers Crazy, your favorite Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, of course, in the entire universe. I got my Angry Runs shirt on today, of course, thinking about our guy Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, excited about Arthur Smith coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers, hoping to revamp an offense that needs it. However, there are positions on the other side of the ball that still need some fixing up, and that's for sure. And today we're going to talk about a small school corner. The Steelers just traded Deontay Johnson, Toledo kid who played well for them. However, maybe they could bring in another Toledo kid in the draft. So we're excited to pick our guest analyst brain, our expert about that. And we'll do that in just a second here. Go ahead, Sammy and Rocket.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco. Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast.
Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
And we've got our good friend joining you live from Tennessee today. It is none other than our draft expert. Find him at SickPod NFL Draft and at Draft Vogel. He's a consultant and analyst for NFL Draft Lounge. He is a fast riser in this business, that's for sure. Sort of like the prospect we're going to talk about today, John Vogel. John, what's up, man?
Oh, backwards hat day. Fantastic.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to roll. We're going to roll with it. So mess up the hair a little bit. Look good. It'll be fine. It'll be good.
Yeah, it already is fine. We look good. We are ready to put on our finest for the NFL draft. That's for sure. And we're ready to talk about one of the finest prospects in this class. Maybe a bit of a long shot when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but when I keep running through mock drafts, some of the top corners are falling. And this kid, deserves all the hype probably. This is Quinyon Mitchell. I teased it in the open, cornerback from Toledo. And I mentioned it, one of the fastest risers maybe we've seen in a handful of years. Why is that so?
I think we were talking about this on the podcast a couple weeks ago on ours, with the draft. Quinyon's had one of the best post-draft or post-season pre-draft, cycles ever. I mean, everything that he's been asked to do, he's come in, he's absolutely knocked out. He starts off at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. I was down there for that one. And I mean, he popped as soon as he was on the field. I mean, there were some very spirited battles between him and Roman Wilson, the Michigan slippery wide receiver. And I mean, these two were just back and forth. Quinyon won pretty much all of the reps. There were a couple, I think Wilson got him underneath with a double or a triple move, but it took that much to get him out, to shake him, and that was what was fun to watch. So you can see the physicality that he plays with. You can see he was a really solid man coverage corner. He's very reactive and explosive. And then he goes to the combine, Mike, and I mean, tests insanely good. A 4.33 40-yard dash and 38-inch vertical, 10-foot broad jump. Just really good stuff. And if you wanted to take his numbers and plug them in and compare him to somebody in terms of the size and the speed that he has, the explosibility. We're talking about Marshawn Lattimore right here. Wow. So he's a very special corner. He's capable. He's really good in man. And we saw that at the Senior Bowl. But even though at Toledo, the one thing that was kind of difficult to tell from tape is he never really got tested. So we didn't see him do that much, because everybody just said, oh, he's on that side of the field. Don't throw over there. So he was just that kind of a lockdown. He had that reputation at Toledo. And, he's coming into the league probably as the number one corner. I think he's going to be the first one that comes off the board. And in my opinion, I don't think it's even that close.
Wow. So significant gap between him and Terry Arnold. Is he your CB2, Arnold? Is Wiggins in that conversation? Okay.
No, not Wiggins.
So not even
not.
Tiny,
No.
Wiggins
Wiggins is a guy that you watch him every single snap. He loses, but he has that 4.2, 8 speed where he just recovers back into the rep. And you could kind of get away with that in college, but if you see every single throw, especially on those vertical concepts that he's covering, he's 2-3 steps behind the receiver before the play, and he's having to run back into it. And I don't think that translates at all.
Yeah, for sure. And from a Steelers perspective, from myself over here, I think if there are any fans out there who are watching this and saying, offensive line, probably a bigger priority. Did you guys watch Levi Wallace last year? Would be my first reaction. And obviously this league is predicated now on you're playing Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrows of the world. Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy. You can never have enough corners, that's for sure. Quinyon has had this Sauce Gardner meteoric rise like we talked about. I'm assuming there's no way in hell you think he's going to fall to pick 20. Omar Khan has shown aggressiveness, not just this offseason, but in last year's draft. Is it fair to say he's not going to fall to 20 and the Steelers would have to trade up?
I think so. We were talking about this before we came on, with Sammy and AC back there. I'm working on mock draft, on a mock draft at the time of recording, and I've got him coming off the board at 13. So I think that I don't think he gets out of the top 15, especially because you'll have the Colts picking at 15. So if there's not a corner off the board, they're going to take him. I would think at least. But
13 is the Raiders.
Yeah, the 13 be the Raiders right now. Yeah. So not in my mock draft, but that's beside the point. There's trades in that. So but that's kind of what you can. That's what you're looking at is 15 is probably where you're going to have to get to, or right above, to get your hands on this guy. I think that there's some defenders that could. There's a couple edge rushers that probably go before him, but overall the top tier defenders in this class, there's not a lot of them, and he would be one of the top. I think he is my top graded defender in this class. So, but the edge rusher come off the board first.
John, do you have a mock draft right now that is accessible that people can jump on and read at any time that you'll be updating? And where could they find that if so? Or is it still in the work?
So NFLDraftLounge.com 2.0 is up. And, we kind of get into a lot of this different stuff. I do a lot of trades. I do a lot of projections. And it's usually interesting and just trying to see, hey, like this is kind of based on you're making a pick, and Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks do a really good job of kind of explaining this. So I'm going to borrow their explanation, but it's an estimated guess.
Sure.
And taking the information that you have and what you've seen and what you've evaluated, it's not necessarily what you think of the players, but what you think a team would be looking at taking and doing with those picks.
All right, that's Quinyon Mitchell. Make sure you guys check out all of the draft profiles in this series. I do want to remind everybody once more that this is fluid. We do pre-record some of these, so if the Steelers trade, of course, for CB1 or sign somebody that's out there, maybe cornerback is not as imperative of a position of need. John, thank you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.